Hey everyone, it's Greg Srzavosty, co-host of Cinematics. I co-host that show with Anderson Cowan. He is my better half. He's a smarter half. He's a more talented filmmaker. He directed Groupers. I've directed nothing. But I do watch a lot of movies. One of my goals this year is to watch 500 movies by the end of 2020. I am way behind that goal right now. I have only 39 movies, and so that's not really on pace, but I'm gonna catch up after doing this mini pod, mini video, mini whatever. I'm going to go and watch my second movie of the day. Actually have to watch. I'm going to try to watch 2 movies a day for the rest of the year, and hopefully I'll make that mark. Hopefully I'll get there. Now, okay, most importantly, Flick City. Flick City was an idea where I had that I actually get to interview directors and actors for various movies. And I don't do it as much as I did before, but I still do it on a regular basis via phoners. But I don't do a lot of the press junkets on the weekends. Anyways, recently I actually had the opportunity to do the press junket for Downhill, and I got a couple of one-on-one interviews. I got Nat Faxon and Jim Rash and actress Zoë Chao for Downhill, and I asked them I asked each of them to name their favorite movies and why is that movie still special to them to this day. Now, regarding Flick Cities, I want that my goal is to create an archive or just I don't know, a vault of just information, clips, videos, people talking about their favorite films, putting it on our YouTube channel, our Facebook page, our podcast, our feed, just to get the word of movies out there and continue that dialogue, whether it's via commenting on the choices of the actors and directors or commenting on just basically continuing that dialogue with various movies. On a selfish level, the more I get movie recommendations by you guys or these actors and filmmakers, I can add them to the list of movies for me to see in 2020. So on the short term, it's very, very good for me to actually know or just be reminded of movies I need to see or I need to rewatch. I'm going to talk about my 500 movie challenge on another video regarding my rules for it, what I'm trying to do, how I'm doing it. That's all that boring stuff I'm going to share, unfortunately, with you guys on another video if you humor me. But specifically for this video and audio thing, I should probably stop saying video and audio for this thing, because everything is everything. But for this specific Flick City installment, what I want to do is focus on Nat Faxon, Jim Rash, and Zoë Chao. They each talk about and share different movies that they loved. Okay, so first off, regarding Nat Faxon and Jim Rash, first off, Downhill, go check it out. Opens February 14th. It's a remake of Force Majeure. I really enjoyed it. Julie Louis-Dreyfus produced it. She stars in it. Will Ferrell's in it. They play a married couple who become fractured after an avalanche is coming at the family, and Will Ferrell's character just takes his cell phone and leaves the scene of the crime, leaving his wife and his 2 kids all by their lonesome to face the avalanche. Obviously, that does not go well with the family, and they pretty much exclude him out from most of their trip. They're actually in the Austrian Alps throughout the duration of the movie. So Downhill, again, a remake of Force Majeure, worth watching, especially if my only caution for you guys is it's not a laugh out loud comedy. It's more of a situational dramedy. So if you're into, it has its funny moments, but it's more of an exploration and examination of this couple's handling of said avalanche situation. I did enjoy it. It's a different film from Force Majeure in different manners. Yeah. So anyways, going back to the Flick City thing, Nat Faxon's one of his favorite movies is The Jerk, which stars Steve Martin. By the way, I've only seen clips of The Jerk. I have not seen The Jerk as of yet. I would love to hear what you guys think of The Jerk. You're going to hear what Nat Faxon thinks in a couple of seconds. Jim Rash's choice is the Coen brothers film Raising Arizona. A lot of people I know, whenever I ask them what's their favorite Coen brothers film, I think the default answer is Raising Arizona. My personal favorite is The Man Who Wasn't There, because I love noir. And man, I love that film so much. That's a movie that I really definitely need to see again, next year when I'm done with the 500 movie thing. But yeah, The Man Who Wasn't There is my favorite. Obviously, Nat Faxon's favorite is Raising Arizona. So here we go. Here is the clip of Nat Faxon and Jim Rash talking about The Jerk and Raising Arizona. Here we go.
Well, when someone says name your favorite movie, even though I'm sure if I sat and closed my eyes, I'd think of other ones, but the one that had the most impact on me, storytelling wise and uniqueness and camera and everything, was Raising Arizona, just because I remember it came in a point in my life that I wasn't prepared for what that was, to see something that I thought was this, hovering a little bit above the ground, just from the camera to the story to the absurdity to Holly Hunt. I mean, everything about it was, I think, a game changer for me. I think that even was like 1990 or 91 or something.
You were 30?
Huh?
You were 30 when you saw that?
No, but thank you. Thank you. How dare you? I was in college. But I think that's when it came out.
The first time I would probably say a comedy that I loved just because of its silliness and its willingness to
Meatballs.
be unapologetic. Was The Jerk.
Oh, yeah.
Just because of how ridiculous it felt and how
he hates these cans.
This is all the moments in it. I just truly laughed and was excited that they just kind of took a lot of risks, and I just appreciated the silliness of it. Another movie in the last however long was the documentary Spellbound, which I adored just because it felt like it was it felt fictionalized in a way. Like some of those characters and that woman who was talking about like her son while the dog was licking her leg at the time. There were so many moments in there that felt like they were made up, but they were real stories. And I think that is something we're always drawn to, which is that kind of character that is almost unbelievable. Like you thought it's, made up, but it's not. It's the real thing. And I think that truth always elevates it even more.
Okay, now we're back with Zoë Chao. Zoe was a really wonderful interview. I haven't seen a lot of her work. I've only seen her in that supporting role last year in Where'd You Go, Bernadette, that Richard Linklater movie. She has a pretty solid role here in Downhill. She and Zach Woods, they're part of this 10 to 12 minute sequence with Julie Louis-Dreyfus and Will Ferrell in Downhill, where the married couple, Dreyfus and Ferrell, they start arguing in front of Zach Woods and Zoe Chao's character, and it's a really intense argument, and it's my favorite sequence, and it's, in my opinion, it's the most ambitious sequence in the film because it's a static situation in a hotel room, and it's just them going at it while Zach Woods and Zoe Chao have to witness that whole debacle. It's really well done, well directed, just well executed. That scene was shot over 3 days, and during our interview, Zoe talked about shooting that 3-day scene. Also, Nat Faxon and Jim Rash, they talk about shooting that 3-day scene as well. My interviews with both are available for our Cinematics Patreon subscribers. It's a $5 catch-all tier, so I'll leave on the show notes where you can actually check out our Patreon just for information if you're interested in that stuff. But enough plugging. I'm not going to start. Enough plugging that stuff. More importantly, here is Zoë Chao talking about 2 films that stars Paula Prentiss. If you don't know who Paula Prentiss is, back in the day in the 60s and the 70s, 80s, she was a big-time actress. She's married to actor-director Richard Benjamin. I actually interviewed Paula Prentiss and Richard Benjamin years ago for this film that Benjamin did called Mrs. Winterbourne. Paula Prentiss has an uncredited cameo in that film. Excuse me, hold on. And during that interview, with Paula Prentiss, I asked her what was it like working with Otto Preminger, the director behind Bunny Lake is Missing. I love that film. But I wanted to ask her what she thought about Otto Preminger, and because she worked with him in this film that I still haven't seen yet, called In Harm's Way. And she actually was honest in her answer. I don't have the audio. I need to find it somewhere, maybe get it somewhere. But I remember her telling me that, or telling the radio roundtable, that Preminger was a bit of a difficult guy to work with. So I think that was his reputation around town. But obviously he also directed, I believe, Anatomy of a Murder, which featured a Duke Ellington score and starred James Stewart. So Otto Preminger, that is some filmmaker, but supposedly very intimidating to work with. But going back to Paula Prentiss is a favorite actress of Zoë Chao's, and during a past interview, she talked about how much she loved Paula Prentiss in the films Man's Favorite Sport and The World of Henry Orient. Now, so when I interviewed Chao, I did not ask her, what's your favorite movie? I didn't ask her that specific question. I actually honed in on Man's Favorite Sport and, why am I blanking? Man's Favorite Sport and The World of Henry Orient. I'm going to get better. I promise, folks. So I asked her about those two movies, and here is Zoe talking about those two Paula Prentiss films. By the way, Man's Favorite Sport, it stars Rock Hudson. The World of Henry Orient co-stars Peter Sellers. I still haven't seen either film, right? Check out the Zoë Chao Flick City clip.
For Man's Favorite Sport, Paula Prentiss is just, she's this lanky, gorgeous, brunette in these films. And she's so funny. And she subverts her physique by just like having this low voice, and like her reactions are so big, but they're all very grounded. She's like one of those people where it's like, if that on somebody else would look like overacting, but she is, so committed. And I think I loved watching her. I think seeing a woman, a beautiful woman, allow herself to be silly and frazzled was really exciting for me. Because normally, growing up watching old movies, you see women being very beautiful and put together and graceful. But Paula was kind of a mess in both of those movies, and I loved that.
All right, I'm back. So those were the sound that I'm going to share with you guys this week. Again, if you want to check out the full interviews, go to our Patreon. One more thing, Anderson and I, with our Cinematics podcast, there's a lot of movies that slip through the cracks in each month, because we only get together once or twice a month. And then we try to play catch up with as many movies as we can. But what I want to do as far as the Flick City stuff goes is not just have the canned audio clips, or maybe hopefully down the road video clips of people talking about their favorite movies, but maybe also catch you guys up on movies that you may want to see or may want to check out either this weekend or the following weekend, or whether it's on demand, digital streaming, or in your local theater. One movie I definitely recommend, which hits theaters on February 14th, is Buffaloed. I am looking at my notes right here. I'm actually looking at a note. It says, so this is my little cheat sheet. For you audio people listening to on the podcast, it's a horrible way of actually describing something, but I apologize for that. So anyways, Buffaloed. It stars Zoey Deutch. Zoey Deutch is the daughter of Howard Deutch and Leah Thompson. Howard Deutch is a filmmaker, director. Yeah, he directed, what movies has Howard Deutch done? I believe he directed Some Kind of Wonderful. I could be completely wrong, by the way. Some Kind of Wonderful, which stars Leah Thompson, and Leah Thompson is the mother of Zoey Deutch. So Leah Thompson and Howard Deutch are the parents of Zoey Deutch. That's the last time I'm going to say that, because Zoey Deutch is a star in and of herself. Regarding screw the DNA, she's really wonderful, as one can see with Buffaloed. Buffaloed is a tour de force, in my opinion, performance from Zoe. It's very, it's a memorable character. She plays this person named Peggy Dahl, Dahl. She lives in Buffalo, New York, and ever since she was a kid, she wanted to make money. She was all focused in on making money at no matter what the cost, because her mother, played by Judy Greer, she's a single mom. She's a widow. And she has to raise two children by being a hairdresser or in a salon. The salon is actually at their ramshackle house in Buffalo. So her mom tries her best to make ends meet. And when Peg sees her mom working so hard, Peg really, really wants to make money, not just to support her family, but just to go out and make it on her own and become rich. So what does Peg do? She actually, Buffalo is, I had no idea. Buffalo, I'm looking at right now, Buffalo is the debt collection capital of the U.S. That's what they said in the log line and the plot synop for Buffalo. I had no idea about that. And so ultimately what happens is a lot of bad things happen to Peg because she's a bit of a swindler. She'll do whatever she can to rub two nickels together, to scrape a couple nickels together, and she gets in trouble with the law. Things happen. But the heart of the movie is her working at a debt collection agency as a debt collector. So she uses her wiles, not her wiles, her charm, her smarts, her moxie to collect debt from people by calling people, getting their accounts, and making their money. Sometimes she does it illegally, and who knows? Maybe that will catch up with her. Jai Courtney, best known for his work in Suicide Squad. He plays her boss at the collection agency she works for, and he's a bit of a roughneck. He's a bit of a ruffian, roughneck, mean guy. His employees are also a little bit shady. The company that he's created, Jai Courtney's created, this debt collection agency, they don't look like an up and up agency whatsoever. So Peg Doll falls into their clutches, and in the journey of trying to make money, she realizes that maybe she should go strike out on her own. So the movie Buffalo deals with Peg Doll's journey into trying to create her own debt collection agency, doing things on a legal basis to not be thrown in jail again, and to ultimately win the war of debt collecting against Jai Courtney's character. So Buffalo was very, very funny for me. It could have been a heavy-handed, weepy, cryy movie about how people change over time, and you should start thinking about your family and think of your loved ones. But thankfully, the director Tanya Wexler does not go that route. The narrative itself is very brisk. The screenplay by Brian Sacca is very well done, very funny. Very funny without being too overly righteous. And what I mean by that is too overly campy. It actually hits the right tone. There are funny parts, and it's a breezy film that to me never felt boring whatsoever. Judy Greer is really, really a fun, as we all know, is very funny. She has more of a muted down role as the mother, the main star of this movie. It's a star vehicle for Zoey Deutch, but that does not mean the movie itself is a bad film. It's actually, in my opinion, a first rate narrative that stuck with me. And I hope it will probably never get a sequel, but I would love to see Peg Doll in another film, because I thought Zoey Deutch was perfect in just, I'm thinking about Raising Arizona, how Nicolas Cage and Holly Hunter were so perfect in their respective roles in that film. This, to me, feels like Zoey Deutch and Peg Doll were fused as the same character. I'm not saying Zoey Deutch is Peg Doll, but it just felt that way to me in that film. And everyone else is really good in this film, and credit to the ensemble. But to me, the big star is the star of the film, Zoey Deutch. I really want to see more of this Peg Doll character from Buffalo. Maybe they do a Buffalo 2. By the way, I have no NFL team right now. I used to be a Houston Texans fan. I've only been an NFL fan for the last 20 years. I don't know why I'm saying this. I'm just rambling on. But I think after watching Buffalo, to be honest, I had a roommate 25 years ago when I was living over in Culver City, California. And he still is a huge Buffalo Bills fan. And I think these were the years when they had Rob Johnson as the QB. Was Rob Johnson the one in the hot tub? No, that's not him. But the Rob Johnson, the hot tub thing. Anyways, I'm rambling. But after watching Buffalo, I actually might become a Buffalo Bills fan, just because I love this movie. I really, if Buffalo Bills fans are exactly like that, I had a window to that Buffalo Bills fandom for a couple of years, so I think that might be a team that I might start rooting for, buying their merch and all that stuff. So, and maybe when Buffalo comes out on DVD or Blu-ray, I'm gonna pick that up and add to my collection as well. So again, this is this Flick City thing is a part of the Cinematics universe. Cinematics, we do the show once or twice a month. Depends on the number of Patreon subscribers we get on a given month. If we hit 100 every month, Anderson and I will do 2 episodes. Right now, as of this taping, it's at 95. So we need 5 more to tape 2 episodes in March. We have a lot of really extra good stuff for our Patreon subscribers, for our Patreon members. But even if you're not a Patreon subscriber, Anderson and I also want to give you some value content for the specific podcast feed, as well as the Cinematics YouTube channel. Anderson Cowan, obviously, he does his weekly I've Got a Movie to Make, because he is a real filmmaker. He's directed groupers. So he's really busy doing that as well, and promoting that and working on financing and getting his next movie off the ground. Me, I'm busy trying to, on a much lesser scale, trying to get 500 movies done by the end of 2020. And to be honest, in tandem with that, I want to give you guys as much as I can regarding movies, regarding sharing our mutual love for movies. So if you see Man's Favorite Sport, or have seen Man's Favorite Sport, or Raising Arizona, or The Jerk, and I'm trying to think of that, and The World of Henry Orient, any of those 4 movies, get back to me, because I'd love to hear your thoughts on each of these films. If you've seen Downhill, if you're going to watch Downhill, you see it and you love it, or you hate it, I'd love to hear your reactions as well. Take care, guys. This was a little bit of a bumpy first episode. It's coming in at probably 30 minutes or so right now, because I've got to edit the clips into this thing. I'd like to say it's like the magic behind the curtain. There's no magic, as you guys can see, whether you're watching the video or the audio. I'm still gonna, hopefully I'll get better down the road. I wouldn't put faith in me, but I would put faith in the movies themselves. They've gotten me through for 48 years. Hopefully these films, so many films, are getting you guys through the day as well. And hopefully Flick City, Cinematics, whatever, will be a small little part of your movie going experience. All right, guys, take care. Talk to you, I think, next week for another episode of Flick City. The reason why I sound so I break it down like a radio person is because I was a radio person for so many years. So there's no real personality or it's just a neurotic guy giving you audio clips and things that he thinks he kind of knows. But I'm going to stop rambling, and I hope you guys have a great rest of the week. Take care, and talk to you later. Bye.